At my sister's engagement dinner, my mother introduced me to the groom's family with a smile bright enough to fool strangers. "This is our other daughter," she said. "She cleans houses for a living." My father nodded like she had described the weather. "We have pretty much given up on her." 23 people sat around that table, white cloth, warm bread, wine glasses catching the light. My grandmother's hand went still beside her plate, then the groom's mother, a woman I had met once before across a boardroom table in Cincinnati, set down her fork and looked straight at me. Her face changed first, then my mother's did. The groom's mother whispered, "Wait, you are her?" That was the moment the whole room stopped pretending. My mother lost every bit of color in her face. My father froze with his hand halfway to his glass. My sister Portia looked from me to her future mother-in-law as if the floor had shifted under the table. What happened over the next 40 minutes did not destroy my family. It only made visible what had already been broken for 10 years. My name is Janelle Harris. I was 32 years old that night, sitting in a private dining room in Belford, Indiana, while my parents tried to make me sound like a disappointment in front of people they badly wanted to impress. I need to tell you how we got there, because the dinner was not the start of the fire. It was the match finally reaching the fuse. I grew up in Belford, a town small enough that people knew your car before they knew your mood. My father, Graham Harris, worked for the same insurance company for 30 years. Same desk, same title, same route to work. He was the kind of man who ironed his shirt on Sunday night and treated staying put like a moral achievement. My mother, Denise, was sharp. I mean, truly sharp. She could look at a grocery receipt and tell you which price had changed from the week before. Before I was born, she did bookkeeping for a hardware store, a doctor's office, and a landscaping company. Then she got pregnant with me, and my father told her they could manage better if she stayed home. So she stayed. She never went back. I do not think she forgave anybody for that. Not him, not me, not my sister. Portia is 4 years younger than I am. She is pretty, polished, and quick with people in a way I never was. She works in marketing in Indianapolis, and she has been promoted twice in 3 years. My mother treats every promotion like a national holiday. When Portia got Employee of the Quarter, my mother framed the certificate. When Portia joined a leadership program, my mother posted about it before Portia did. When Portia spoke on a small panel at work, my mother sent the video to cousins I had not seen since high school. My own wall in their living room stopped at my college graduation photo. 4 years of business school. That was the last thing I did that fit their idea of success. After that, the language around me changed. At church, my mother would say, "Portia is doing so well with her company." Then she would pause, not long, just long enough for the air to understand there was a contrast coming. "Janelle is still doing her thing." My father never corrected her. That was his gift to the family, silence wrapped up and presented as peace. Before I go deeper, tell me where you are watching from tonight. I always read the cities and states in the comments, and I know there are people listening who have sat at a family table while someone described them smaller than they really are. The night my family decided I was not worth the investment happened when I was 22. I had a business degree, a binder full of market research, a 12-month cash flow projection, and a plan to start a commercial cleaning company in Indianapolis. Not residential cleaning, not weekend odd jobs, commercial contracts. Offices, clinics, universities, government buildings, recurring revenue, staff training, quality control, insurance, the kind of work people notice only when it is not done. I put the binder on my parents' kitchen table. My mother had made meatloaf. My father had the local news on low. Portia was at a friend's house. "I am starting a commercial cleaning company," I said. My mother looked at the binder like it had left a mark on her table. "Cleaning. Commercial cleaning. You have a business degree." "Yes. And you want to push a mop." I remember that sentence because of how gently she said it, like she was sad for me, like I had brought home a diagnosis. I opened the binder. I showed them startup costs, insurance quotes, average contract sizes, labor needs, equipment leases, and market gaps in mid-sized office buildings. I had done the work. I had numbers. I had called property managers. I had 3 leads already. My father turned down the television. For a second, I thought he was going to ask a question. He did. How much do you need from us? I am not asking for money. My mother laughed once, sharp and surprised. Then why are you telling us? That was the first time I understood that some parents only recognize ambition when it comes with a price tag they approve of. Because I wanted you to know. Janelle, my mother said, folding her hands, you are capable of more than this. It sounded like encouragement unless you were the one being buried under it. This is more, I said. It is cleaning. It is a business. It is cleaning. My father rubbed the back of his neck. Maybe get a real job first. Build up experience. Portia's friend has an uncle at a bank. I am not going to a bank. My mother looked away, and I saw it happen. A door in her closed, not loudly, not dramatically, just shut. Then do what you want, she said. I did. Grandma Rosalie was the only person who did not treat my plan like a funeral. Rosalie Harris was my father's mother, 78 now, but back then she was still driving herself to church, still making pound cake by memory, still correcting the pastor's grammar in the bulletin. She had a bad heart and a clean eye for foolishness. When I told her about the company, she asked 3 questions. Who is your first customer? What happens if somebody slips on a wet floor? How much cash do you need to survive 6 months? Then she went to her bedroom and came back with an envelope. $800. I tried to give it back. It is not enough to start a company, I said. No, she said. It is enough to know somebody believes you. Inside the envelope was a white cotton handkerchief with her initials stitched in navy thread and a note that said, I got her courage. I asked what that meant. She said, it means your mother lost track of hers. Do not lose yours trying to get it back for her. That was Grandma Rosalie. She could hand you money and a warning in the same breath. My first office was not an office. It was a studio apartment with 1 window, a kitchen counter that tilted slightly, and air conditioning that worked when it felt moved by grace. I mixed my first cleaning solution in a plastic spray bottle, lemon juice, white vinegar, water. I could not afford anything better. My first client was a dental office on Meridian Street, 3 exam rooms, 1 waiting area, a bathroom with mint green tile that had seen better decades. I cleaned after their last patient left, drove home smelling like lemon and latex gloves, and did my books at midnight while eating crackers over the sink. 6 months in, I had 4 contracts. I worked 7 days a week. My shoulders ached even when I slept. I kept extra socks in my car because wet floors do not care about dignity. My first year, I made $52,000 in revenue and $11,000 in profit. I hired my first employee that year. Her name was Mariana. She was a single mother from Guatemala who showed up 15 minutes early to every shift and never once treated cleaning like something to apologize for. Every Sunday, I called Grandma Rosalie. She did not ask whether I was dating. She did not ask when I planned to use my degree. She asked, how many clients? What is your close rate? Do you have liability insurance yet? Are you paying yourself, or are you pretending hunger is a strategy? My mother called sometimes too, but not to ask those questions. Are you still doing that cleaning thing? Yes, Mom. Portia got invited to a leadership lunch. Good for her. She is really making something of herself. I would be standing in a supply closet with a mop bucket beside me and a checklist clipped to the wall, and I would say, that is great. Then I would go back to work. Year 3 changed everything. I signed a contract with a 12-story office building on the north side of Indianapolis. Annual value, $340,000. I opened a second location. I hired my 38th employee. Revenue crossed $1.4 million. Say I was 25 years old, running a company that cleaned more square footage in a week than most people walk in a year. I called my mother. Mom, I just signed a contract worth $340,000 a year. There was a pause. That is nice, she said. Nice. Then she asked, does that mean you are still going at night with the crews? Sometimes. Be careful in those buildings. You never know who is around. We have protocols. Portia just got accepted into a leadership program at work. I was sitting in a real office by then, a desk, a filing cabinet, a photo of Grandma Rosalie on the shelf. On the corner of the desk was my first proper business card, navy blue, clean type, Harris Commercial Services. I stared at that card while my mother talked about Portia's leadership lunch. That was the last time I volunteered good news about my company to my parents. I did not decide it in a big emotional way. I simply ran out of doors to knock on. When you tell someone you signed a $340,000 contract and they ask whether you still mop floors at night, the message is clear. So I let them keep the version of me they preferred. They did not ask. I stopped offering. By the time Portia called about the engagement dinner, Harris Commercial Services operated in 14 states. We had 283 employees. Annual revenue had crossed $18 million. We serviced hospitals, universities, corporate headquarters, courthouses, and government offices. Our employee retention rate was 87%, the highest among vendors in our segment. I had built a 40-hour onboarding program with ESL support and a supervisor track for people who wanted to move from crew work into operations. None of this was secret. We had a website, a LinkedIn page, a short article in Indianapolis Business Journal, a tiny Wikipedia page I did not write, and still found embarrassing. My parents had never looked at any of it. Portia called on a Tuesday afternoon. I was reviewing a facilities proposal when her name came up. We had not spoken in 4 months. I almost let it ring. Then I answered. "I am engaged," she said. She did not ease into it. That was Portia. She liked big moments delivered cleanly, like marketing copy. "Congratulations," I said. "Who is he?" "Grant Ellis." The name made my hand pause over the trackpad. "Ellis?" "Yes. His family is hosting an engagement dinner next Saturday. Mom wants you there." "Mom wants me there?" Grandma asked. That sounded more likely. I knew the Ellis name very well. 18 months earlier, my company had won the cleaning contract for 47 of their commercial properties. $3.8 million a year, the largest deal in our history at the time. The contract had been signed by Camille Ellis, chair of the Ellis Property Group Board, Grant's mother. I stared at my screen for a long time after Portia hung up. Friday afternoon, the day before the dinner, I stood in my office and looked at the spray bottle on my desk. Lemon juice, white vinegar, water. Same recipe I mixed in my studio apartment when I could not afford commercial products. I kept it there for the same reason some people keep a first dollar bill. I unscrewed the cap and held it under my nose. Citrus and acid. It smelled like 5 in the morning. Aching shoulders. Mint green bathroom tile. First invoices. Fear and stubbornness mixed together. It smelled like the beginning. I picked my outfit that evening. Navy blouse, the same shade as my company logo, though nobody at that dinner would know that. Black slacks, flat shoes. No jewelry, except a thin gold chain Grandma Rosalie gave me for my 30th birthday. I was not dressing to impress. I was dressing like a woman with work to do. Saturday morning, I called Rosalie. "I am on my way, Graham. Drive safe." Her voice had thinned over the past year. Heart medication made her tired. I could hear it in the pauses. "Janelle?" "Yes?" "Do not let your mother shrink you." I pulled onto the interstate with that sentence sitting beside me. 3 hours to Belford, 3 hours of flat Indiana highway, winter brown fields, and radio stations fading in and out like old friendships. 3 hours to decide how much of myself I was willing to bring into that room. I thought about Camille Ellis. She would be there. She would recognize me. I did not know what she would say, or what my parents would say when she said it. I was not planning a scene. I want that clear. I drove to that dinner for one reason. A 78-year-old woman with a bad heart wanted to see her granddaughter. Everything else happened because other people mistook my silence for permission. The Alder Room sits on a 2-lane road outside Belford. Exposed brick, warm lighting, local art on the walls. The kind of place that serves bread in a cloth napkin and charges too much for salmon. I pulled into the lot at 6:55 p.m., 5 minutes early. My mother's silver Buick was near the entrance. My father's coat hung in the back seat. Portia's white SUV was 2 spaces over with a "Just Engaged" sticker on the bumper, placed so straight it looked measured. The private dining room was at the back. Long oval table, 23 place settings, bread baskets already full, water glasses already poured. My mother met me at the threshold in a plum dress and a necklace I had never seen before. "Janelle," she said, hugging me fast, "you look comfortable." Her eyes moved from my blouse to my flats. "Thank you." My father stood behind her. He shook my hand. His own daughter. "Glad you came," he said, looking at my left ear. Portia crossed the room in heels, engagement ring flashing. She hugged me with both arms, which surprised me. "Thank you for coming, Nell." Then she introduced me to Grant. Tall, polite, careful smile. "This is my older sister," she said. "She lives in Indianapolis." No work, no title, just a city. At the far end of the table, I spotted Grandma Rosalie in her wheelchair, cardigan buttoned to the throat, thinner than she had been 3 months before. She reached for my hand before I reached for hers. "There is my girl." I sat beside her. Camille Ellis had not arrived yet. Appetizers came out, crab cakes, bruschetta, a cheese board that could have fed a high school basketball team. My mother worked the room like a campaign manager. Every person received a label. "This is my brother Travis, retired fire captain, 31 years. My niece Simone, just finished nursing school, top of her class. Portia's director came too. Isn't that kind?" Each person got a title, a rank, a reason to be respected. She moved past me, not dramatically, not with silence so pointed people would notice. She just passed over my chair the way you pass a lamp that has been in the room too long. Roland Ellis noticed. He was Grant's father, silver-haired, warm in the way people are when they are curious without trying to dominate. He leaned across the table. "And what do you do, Janelle?" Before I could answer, my mother cut in from 2 seats away. "Oh, Janelle does cleaning work. Residential, mostly. You know." She waved her hand, a small flick, like she was brushing crumbs from a counter. I picked up my water glass, took a sip, and set it down. Mia Ellis, Grant's sister, tilted her head. "Like a cleaning service?" "That is useful work." My mother smiled. "It is a living." Under the table, Grandma Rosalie found my hand and squeezed once. Her knuckles were swollen. Her grip was steady. Then the door opened. Heels on wood. A voice in the hallway apologizing for traffic. Camille Ellis walked into the private dining room. She was 61 and looked like a woman who had earned every one of those years on her own terms. Silver hair cut close to her jaw, gray blazer over a black blouse. "No." My mother was telling Roland about the time Portia won a regional marketing award. My father was studying the wine list like it had a secret message in it. Portia was laughing at something Grant whispered, but I noticed. Camille knew I noticed. She said nothing for the next 20 minutes. She ate her appetizer. She complimented the crab cakes. She asked Grant about his apartment. She asked Portia about the wedding date. And she waited. Let me tell you about the first time I met Camille Ellis. 18 months before that dinner, I flew to Cincinnati for the biggest pitch of my career. Ellis Property Group managed more than 200 commercial buildings, medical complexes, office towers, and mixed-use developments across 4 states. They needed one vendor to handle cleaning services for 47 properties. The contract was worth $3.8 million a year. I wore my Navy suit and brought a 40-page proposal. Service tiers, staffing models, quality control protocols, cost comparisons. Say, "This is Janelle." She never. No. Below it. White. Camille. I had. Like it was. I was. Camille. I had. Graham. My. Portia. Because. I think. People. You said. She simply. But I am marrying into it. That was honest enough to respect. Portia came after him. "Can we talk later?" "Maybe." "Janelle." I looked at her. "I saw the text," I said. Her face went pale. "I did not mean it like that." "You meant it enough to send it." She swallowed. "I was trying to keep Mom calm. I spent 10 years doing that. It does not work." She had no answer. I drove back to Indianapolis that night with the windows cracked even though it was cold. I needed air. The handkerchief sat on the passenger seat. Every few miles I reached over and touched it, just to remind myself I had not imagined the evening. At 11:42 p.m., my mother texted, "You ruined your sister's dinner." I did not answer. At 12:06, my father texted, "That got out of hand." I did not answer that either. At 12:31, Grandma Rosalie called. I pulled into a gas station and answered, "You home?" "Not yet." "Pull over if you are crying." "I am not crying. Lying to an old woman is bad luck." I laughed then. One sharp, wet sound. "I am pulled over." Good. For a minute, neither of us said anything. Then she asked, "Did you say what needed saying?" "Some of it." "That is enough for one night." "Gram?" "Yes." "Did Mom always know?" Rosalie sighed. She knew enough. That was worse than no. The next morning, my phone had 37 messages. Cousins, aunties, one former church friend, 2 people I barely remembered from high school. Belford moves information the way rain moves downhill. Fast, messy, and into every crack. Most messages said some version of, "I had no idea." A few said, "Why did you never tell us?" I wanted to send one answer to all of them, because telling people who benefit from misunderstanding you is exhausting. Instead, I answered almost nobody. Camille sent an email Monday morning from her company address. Subject line, "Dinner and contract." Janelle, "My son is marrying into an interesting family, but he is not marrying his mother-in-law. I want you to know the dinner changed nothing about our confidence in Harris Commercial Services. If anything, it confirmed what I already knew. You build with discipline, and you respect the people who do work too many others look through." Camille Ellis. I printed that email and taped it to my office wall next to the first dollar I ever earned cleaning the dental office on Meridian Street. Monday at 7:15, I walked into the Harris Commercial Services office on West Washington Street. 3,200 square feet, open floor plan, glass conference room, break room with mismatched mugs nobody throws away because every office has its own form of emotional clutter. Mariana was already there, now our regional training director, arguing with a printer. "You look tired," she said. "Family dinner." "Ah," she said, "so spiritual warfare." I laughed for real that time. My inbox had 312 emails, one from Camille's assistant. Contract renewal, 3-year extension, improved terms. Note, Mrs. Ellis asked me to expedite this. I leaned back in my chair and looked at the spray bottle on my desk. Lemon juice, white vinegar, water, same recipe, same sharpness, same woman, just steadier now, with 283 people counting on me to show up every morning and mean it. My mother called me the one who cleans houses. She was not wrong about the verb. I do clean. We clean hospitals where children get better. We clean office buildings where people build careers. We clean courthouses where justice happens. We clean university halls where the next generation learns. There is nothing small about work that lets other people walk safely into their day. On my desk, framed in black metal, is the first business card I ever printed. Bad font, cheap paper, logo I drew on a free design website at 2 a.m. I have never taken it down. 2 weeks after the dinner, I called my mother once. She answered on the first ring, did not say hello, just breathed. Mom, I am calling to tell you something." Silence. "I love you. That has not changed, but I will not attend any family event where you or Dad introduce me as less than what I am. If that means I miss holidays, I will miss them. If that means I see you less, then I will see you less. That is not punishment. It is a boundary." She said, "You are choosing pride over family." "No," I said, "I am choosing peace over performance. Your father has feelings too." "He has my number." She hung up. I sat with the silence for about 30 seconds. It was not empty. It was full in the way a room is full after you rearrange the furniture and realize it finally fits. Then I called Grandma Rosalie. She picked up before the second ring. "How did it go?" "About how I expected." "Did you say what you needed to say?" "Every word?" "Then that is enough, honey." 3 months have passed. My mother and father have not called except for that one text from my father 6 weeks after the dinner. I should have said something that night. I read it. I did not respond, but I saved it. Not because it fixed anything, because sometimes a late truth is still a truth, even if it arrives too tired to change the past. Portia drove to Indianapolis on a Saturday. We met at a diner near my office. She ordered pancakes and spent the first 10 minutes looking at her hands. "I Googled your company," she said. "That was available before the dinner." "I know." She looked up. "You have a Wikipedia page?" "A very short one." She smiled, small and uncertain. "I am sorry I helped Mom." "I know." "Do you forgive me?" "Not yet." Her eyes filled. I did not rush to make her comfortable. That was new for both of us. "But you came," I said. "I did. That matters. We are not close yet. We may never be what sisters are supposed to be." But she is trying, and I am leaving the door open without standing in it waiting. Camille and I have dinner quarterly now. Not always business. Sometimes just two women who built things from scratch and know what it costs. Last month she referred a hospital group in Michigan. 6 buildings, worth $2.1 million. Grandma Rosalie calls every Sunday. Her voice is thinner now, and the heart medication makes her tired, but she still asks about my numbers. "How many people now?" 286. "Close rate?" "Better than last quarter." "Are you paying yourself properly?" "Yes, ma'am." Do not yes, ma'am me if you are lying. I tell her the truth. I always do. The story spread through Belford the way stories spread in small towns, through aunties, church parking lots, salon chairs, and people who pretend they are asking for prayer when they really want details. People Googled my company. They found the website, the client list, the employee count. The Indianapolis Business Journal article from 2 years ago, the one my mother had never read, Denise lost the narrative. For the first time in 30 years, the version of her family she presented to Belford did not match the version Belford could verify in 5 seconds. I do not celebrate that, but I do not grieve it either. There is a difference between revenge and a lie running out of road. My mother told the Groom's family I clean houses for a living. She was right. I do clean houses. I clean offices and hospitals and courthouses and schools. I built an empire on work my parents thought was beneath them. I did it without their money, without their approval, and without one clean moment of their pride. The people who mattered already knew, and the ones who refused to know were never going to be convinced by one more certificate on a wall. On the shelf behind my desk are 2 business cards. The first one, cheap paper, crooked logo, year 1. The current one, navy blue, clean font, 14 states, 286 employees as of this morning. Same woman, same work, different scale. Grandma Rosalie gave me $800, a handkerchief, and a note that said, "I got her courage." That was the inheritance that mattered. If this story reminded you to stop shrinking for people who refuse to see you, tell me in the comments. There is no just in honest work. There is no just in building something from nothing. And there is no shame in cleaning up a room that other people made dirty, then walking out with your name still your own.